tonight. SARM joins the opposition against the recent SaskPower rate hike. A youth is charged in the Greenall High School gun scare. And Canada's greatest soccer star inspires the next generation of leaders.
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. The Sask NDP is not the only one pushing back against the provincial government on last month's SaskPower rate hike. As Donovan Mace tells us, SARM has entered the fray on a decision that has been leading the debate at the legislature.
Saskatchewan rural municipalities are adding their voice of opposition to recent SaskPower rate hikes.
We have no choice. We need power.
SARM penning a letter to the rate review panel saying the near 4% increase, which went into effect in February, has a disproportionate cost impact on farms, urging the panel to require SaskPower to fully examine and implement non-revenue-based strategies before approving further rate increases that would place additional burdens on farms, ag operations, and local RMs.
We need to keep our costs down somehow, and there's more power being demanded every day, and we're using more, and we're hopeful that prices can remain more stable.
It comes the day an NDP motion sets to launch debate to reverse the hike, introducing what's known as the Lower Power Bills and Car Insurance Act.
The Premier stood in the Assembly, where you are supposed to tell the truth, and said on December 4th that there would be no power rate increases.
How much is the Premier going to hike power rates to pay for this?
There's no discussion on this side of the House with respect to hiking power rates.
The opposition says the Premier has now broken that promise.
People in industry across Saskatchewan heard that, only to see less than 30 days later a rate increase come.
The province defending the increases, saying it supports record investments into strengthening SaskPower's grid.
We're going to continue to make those investments, Mr. Speaker, to make sure that the people of this province have the power they need.
While SARM agrees with that investment, Huber is looking for a balance.
Power bills are going to go up, their heating bills are going to get higher, and they're going to need more wages and increase in salaries.
The Lower Power Bills and Car Insurance Act is expected to be in front of the Assembly again for debate next week. Donovan Mace, CTV News, Regina.
Well, some parents and daycare operators are scrambling after learning a new rule excludes some 6-year-olds from subsidized childcare. Keenan Sorokon has more on Saskatchewan's childcare deal that is set to begin April the 1st.
Amber Fox runs Early Bird Daycare in Warman, where an end-of-day email on Monday told her 6-year-olds at the daycare won't be covered under the $10 a day program unless they turn 6 after April 1st.
Which is kind of a slap in the face for parents. I have a family. Their child is turning 6 on March 23rd. And so he will not be eligible for the $10 a day program anymore because he was born a week prior to their deadline.
As part of the province's extended agreement with the federal government announced in November, eligibility expanded from 5 to 6-year-olds. But now daycares are having to call affected families and say they will have to pay the full price. Education Minister Everett Hindley dodged questions from reporters at the legislature this morning about why more notice wasn't given, but says children not yet 6 years old can't be covered because it would break the current agreement with Ottawa.
The new agreement takes effect on April 1st. I wouldn't say it's an oversight. I would say when our officials were negotiating with their federal counterparts, this is what we were able to achieve.
The Saskatchewan NDP disagrees. Leader Carla Beck says the province didn't understand the deal it signed and was caught off guard.
This might not seem like a big deal to this government. As I said, it's another example of, they say, oops, and it's Saskatchewan people who pay for it. This is a huge deal to those families.
The biggest concern for Fox is the lack of notice. She says strict regulations means she has to provide parents with at least 1 month's notice for any fee increases. But with less than 1 month until this change takes effect, she fears she will not be in compliance with her own agreement, forcing families to unexpectedly pay 4 times more than originally anticipated. Keenan Sorokon, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Saskatchewan's Minister of Trade and Export Development says China dropping or lowering tariffs on Canadian canola meal and canola seed are already having an impact.
prices are up, and what we understand is that shipments are on their way. So I think that's very positive news for our canola producers for both inventory and for new crop planting now too. Welcome.
Ottawa confirmed yesterday China is following through on commitments made during a trade mission in January that included Premier Scott Moe. Federal estimates say lower canola seed tariffs will improve market access for about $4 billion in annual Canadian exports. The Premier is returning from a separate trade trip to India.
I can't comment as to how, if there is any progress in reducing those tariffs, but I certainly expect everyone there heard from our Premier and certainly from our trade offices as to how important reducing these tariffs or certainly getting to a tariff-free environment would be to support our pulse industry here at home.
Before his departure, the Premier was managing expectations on the possibility of India dropping its 30% tariff on Canadian yellow peas. Those remain in effect as India tries to curb cheaper imports to support domestic farmers. But Saskatchewan has committed to exploring a potential pulse research facility in India. At the federal level, Ottawa is reportedly exploring a future Canada-India free trade deal. Provincial government says staff at its Dubai trade office have been advised to work from home amid uncertainty over Iranian missile strikes. The managing director of the office was actually at a Toronto conference when the conflict in Iran began, and he's being encouraged to stay in Canada for now. Other ministry support staff who are Dubai locals are being asked to stay home and work there. The trade office is embedded within the Global Affairs Canada office in Dubai, and the province has been working closely with them to understand the concerns and risks in the area. The investigation into a death of a 3-year-old boy in Prince Albert yesterday continues. The Prince Albert Police Service responded to the 900 block of 2nd Street East around 7 p.m. for a 3-year-old boy who was reported to be unconscious and not breathing. The child was transported to Victoria Hospital, where he later passed away. The Saskatchewan Coroner's Service confirming it is assisting the investigation, and an autopsy was completed on Wednesday. Police say updates will be provided as the investigation continues. RCMP have laid 3 charges against a male youth after yesterday's report of a firearm in a parking lot of Greenall School in Balgony. Police say the initial call came from a passerby on a Trans-Canada highway who spotted the suspicious activity on a nearby road. Officers seized 3 BB-style long guns and arrested 2 students. An investigation determined a shot was fired towards a vehicle around 11 a.m. One of the youths was charged with possession of a weapon for a dangerous purpose, careless use of a firearm, and mischief under $5,000. He will make his first court appearance on April the 8th. The other student was released with no charges. On day 4 of the Dylan Whitehawk murder trial, a witness testified that the accused was present at the murder scenes of both Keenan Toto and Jordan Denton. Mick Fable has the details.
In 2019, Keenan Toto and Justin Denton were both killed in drive-by shootings. The driver of the 2 vehicles used is the latest to testify at the double murder trial of Dylan Whitehawk. Whitehawk is facing 2 first-degree murder charges in the deaths of Toto and Denton. The witness, who cannot be named due to a publication ban, recalls both shootings being fueled by Whitehawk's desire to move up the ranks of the Indian Mafia street gang. In the early hours of November 9th, the witness says they were with Whitehawk and 2 other members of the IM on the 900 block of Robinson Street when they pulled up beside 2 people and confronted them. The pair ran away, and Whitehawk opened fire with a .22 caliber weapon, hitting 1 person in the back. The witness also described the happenings in the early morning of December 1st, testifying the witness, Whitehawk, and 2 other Indian Mafia members pulled up to 2 people on the 1200 block of Queen Street. Through the passenger side window, Whitehawk asked the pair if they were gang affiliated. According to the witness, there was no answer, and Whitehawk shot Toto. Both cars and guns used in the crimes were later dumped. The witness adding Denton and Toto were not known to Whitehawk. The witness has not been charged in connection with the murders. 2 expert witnesses testified here at Court of King's Bench, one regarding a gun used in one of the murders, the other discussing the victims' autopsies. Testimony will continue here Friday morning. Mick Fable, CTV News, Regina.
Prince Albert police are looking for an inmate who was released by mistake from the Prince Albert Correctional Center. This is a picture of Dagan McKenzie. He has been unaccounted for since yesterday. Anyone who knows where he is should contact police. All right, Connor Chan joins us for our first look at weather. A bit of a slippery day to start things off as snow, freezing rain kind of hit parts of the Regina area this morning.
Yeah, lots of southern Saskatchewan areas like Swift-Current and Moose Jaw also got hit with that freezing rain. Of course, there's some warnings on the highway hotline, travel not recommended, but it was the east and central east that got a lot of snow for those down south as well. And as well as us here, we're starting to see some flurries kind of make its way into the city, but it is going to get better going into the weekend as we take a look now to the satellite and radar map. As you can kind of see, it is kind of moving more. Oh, as I jumped there, actually, I may have pressed the wrong board there by accident, but as I will say with the radar satellite map, it is going to be mostly stuff from the southeast kind of make its way more eastbound. So areas like Melville and Yorkton are going to be hit with the snow that will continue on. And as we talk about, I know I don't have the graphic up there, but it is going to be mid-teens overnight tonight, but I will have the correct boards for you coming up in the full forecast. Lee?
All right, thanks a lot, Connor. Construction season just around the corner in Saskatchewan, and that includes work on a Regina overpass. Now, the overpass at Albert Street and Ring Road will go down to one lane of traffic starting March 23rd, kicking off the second year of the two-year project. Now, that, of course, is a key entrance into the city from Highway 11. The project is expected to be complete in October of this year. The province and SARM are putting more than $46 million into road, bridge, and culvert projects in rural Saskatchewan. The government will put $16.9 million towards 41 approved projects through its Rural Integrated Roads for Growth program, while RMs will front the remaining $29 million. The key goal is improving transportation access in rural areas, especially for agricultural goods.
It's a great program. The only thing is we keep lobbying for more money because, you know, our roads are really heavily used. We're producing more grain. There's more industry, more mining and forestry activity in the province. And we need infrastructure to get our products to market, whether it's agriculture or industrial.
The provincial program contributes up to 50% of the project to a max of $500,000 for a road and $1 million for a large culvert or bridge. Project approval is overseen by both SARM and the Ministry of Highways. Road conditions delayed the journey of a massive house and garage through the Capel Valley today. The home, which has been on the move since Tuesday, crossed Highway 1 and Highway 10 yesterday, was set to start the final leg of its journey today on Highway 6 north of Regina. But that trip has been delayed because of the icy conditions. The move is to its final destination near Strasbourg. Will continue tomorrow, weather permitting, of course. Well, the University of Regina's Inspiring Leadership Forum saw an impressive lineup of keynote speakers take to the stage at the Bungie International Trade Center, and that includes a well-known Canadian soccer icon. Jacob Carr has more.
An impressive lineup of keynote speakers at the Inspiring Leadership Forum, including Canadian women's soccer icon Christine Sinclair.
The more you can get out and try to inspire people, the better. And especially going across Canada, there's so much more to this country than just Vancouver and Toronto, for instance. So it's nice to get to different parts of the country to share our stories and, yeah, hopefully inspire some people in the crowd. While Sinclair was looking to inspire the crowd, little did she know that two of her biggest supporters would drop in looking for an autograph from one of their heroes. There you go.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We're really big fans.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I've seen her so many times in the shows and like playing soccer, and it was just so cool getting to meet her.
I really look up to her when I play soccer, and I want to be just like her when I grow up, and it was super cool to be able to meet her in person.
As a champion of growing not only the women's soccer game in North America, but all women's sports, Sinclair says she is happy to see leagues like the National Women's Soccer League and the Professional Women's Hockey League pick up steam in recent years.
My entire career, we were saying, you know, if you put women on TV, if you put them in venues that people can access, people will come watch and people will tune in. And I think what you've seen over the past 5 years, for instance, that's the case.
Adding that while North American women's sports are on the upswing, more changes are still needed, such as improvement to outdated facilities and stadiums. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
The parents of a 2.5-year-old Saskatoon boy are working to fund research into his rare genetic condition. As CTV's Stacey Hine tells us, the family has launched a foundation and is hosting a fundraiser later this month to support the search for potential treatments.
This is 2.5-year-old Sam. Before his first birthday, he was diagnosed with MEF2C haploinsufficiency syndrome, a rare genetic condition that causes severe developmental delays, seizures, and other serious health challenges.
The days and weeks following the diagnosis, it was a pretty dark cloud over our family. So a lot of tears, a lot of sort of reorienting to what we thought life was going to be like, to what this new life would be like.
Sam now sees about 7 pediatric specialists and has regular medical appointments. His parents, Chris Kaninsky and Aaron Kindrachuk, both work full-time and depend on friends and family for support.
Anybody who's a parent knows it really does take a village, but that expression takes on a really whole new meaning when you're parenting a kid with rare disease.
While caring for 3 children, Sam's parents also began searching for answers. After speaking with researchers and geneticists, they learned new treatments, including gene therapy, are showing promise for some rare genetic conditions.
And that led us to creating a foundation, that led us to initiating some research, and in the hopes that a drug can be developed to help Sam and kids like him.
They launched the MEF2C Family Foundation Canada in the fall of 2024 and partnered with a leading U.S. gene therapy expert to develop potential treatments for children with the condition. To support that research, the foundation is hosting its first fundraiser, the Pure Imagination Benefit, at TCU Place on March 28th.
Our goal is to raise awareness for rare disease, for MEF2C, and to fundraise specifically for research.
The family says advocating for rare disease research isn't easy, and that much of the progress being made is driven by parents pushing for answers for their children. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatchewan.
Still ahead, Iran drags another country into the Middle East conflict using drone attacks. And although Canada is not planning to join the conflict, the military is still preparing. As the war in the Middle East widens and lengthens, the U.S. and Israel hit deeper into Iran. Iran adds Azerbaijan to its targets, at least 12 countries so far they've targeted in this conflict, while U.S. President Donald Trump says he must be involved in picking Iran's new leader. Adrian Gobriel has the latest from Turkey.
The screams of young children can be heard as one of 2 Iranian drones slams into the ground near a school. A second hitting this airport terminal. Azerbaijan's president has vowed to crush Iran with an iron fist after he says 4 drones were fired into his country. Iran has denied any connection to the attacks, instead blaming Israel.
Iran is exporting the war, trying to expand it to as many countries as they can to sow chaos.
In Tehran, an ever-intensifying onslaught from above rocked the city for a 6th straight day, where more than 1,000 people are now said to be dead. In parts of Beirut, concrete carnage where neighborhoods once stood. Traffic jams now line the streets with panicked civilians after the Israeli military ordered the evacuation of hundreds of thousands from the southern suburbs of Lebanon's capital city. This all comes as confirmation from Rome today that Italy is sending air defense systems to the Gulf. Spain also announcing it's sending its Christopher Columbus frigate to Cyprus to join a French aircraft carrier and Greek naval ships. Great Britain now has 4 fighter jets en route to Qatar. With each passing day, more NATO members are being drawn in.
It's affecting us. It's affecting the entire globe. This is a global conflict.
CTV News is currently stationed near the Incirlik Air Force Base in the southern Turkish city of Adana, along the eastern Mediterranean, where Turkish and U.S. NATO air forces have been stationed for decades. Just yesterday, off the coast of the NATO base, an Iranian ballistic missile was shot out of the sky by NATO forces as it entered Turkish airspace. While Iran has denied targeting Turkey, one former NATO commander says he has little doubt about the aim of that Iranian missile.
They're going after that airbase by design. Ballistic missiles are aimed. They know what the flight path is. These Shahed drones are aimed. They know what the flight paths are. This does not happen by mistake.
And make no mistake, this is now a conflict forcing the hand of several NATO nations across the globe. The multiple drone strikes on Azerbaijan makes this the 12th country to accuse Iran of firing deadly warheads in their direction since this war began. Adrian Gobro, CTV News, Adana, Turkey.
Now, the Prime Minister is not ruling out participation in the U.S.-led war on Iran. While Mark Carney has not called for military intervention yet, the Canadian Armed Forces is working on a contingency plan. Judy Trin has more on the preparations.
As the war in Iran escalates, the Prime Minister has not ruled out military participation.
One can never categorically rule out participation. We will stand by our allies when it makes sense. There's a distinction between the offensive actions that were taken and are being taken by the United States and Israel, that were taken by them without consultation with Canada, with other allies.
For now, the Canadian Armed Forces is focused on keeping 200 members out of the line of fire.
We've been focused on the force protection of our people, which means dispersing and staying in locations if the force protection is acceptable. In some cases, relocating them to a different country in the region, or in some other cases, redeploying them to Canada.
So far, about 20 personnel have returned to Canada. The federal government has not yet requested help in extracting citizens from the danger zone, but the military says it is preparing contingency plans.
We are in the process of deploying 6 people as liaison officers to make sure that we're prepared should such a request come in, but we do not have any such request yet, nor have we moved major assets like ships or airplanes.
In Canada, there is support for toppling the Iranian regime, but both the U.S. and Israel began bombing without engaging the United Nations or its allies.
It should be up to Parliament itself to say yay or nay on whether or not we're ever going to be deploying our troops into a conflict.
The military is preparing for all possible outcomes, but at this moment, they have not been asked by the government to join Operation Epic Fury, nor have they been asked to help with civilian evacuations. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
The RCMP is cutting dozens of positions at its national headquarters in Ottawa. Figures from the Treasury Board of Canada show the RCMP plans to reduce its workforce by 63 employees and 13 executives. The National Police Force is looking to find billions of dollars in savings. Last week, 285 employees at the national headquarters received notification that their jobs may be impacted by the job cuts. Companies that paid tariffs that were later struck down by the U.S. Supreme Court could be getting refunds. A judge with the U.S. Court of International Trade says all importers who paid Trump's Liberation Day and fentanyl-related duties are entitled to refunds. The U.S. High Court concluded last month that the national security statute that Trump used to impose those tariffs was unlawful. And pop star Britney Spears was arrested Wednesday on suspicion of driving under the influence. Booking information shows that the singer was stopped around 9:30 p.m. last night in California, booked just after 3 a.m. and released later. This is not the first time Spears has dealt with legal issues. In 2007, she was charged with misdemeanor hit and run, which was later dismissed after she paid for the damages.
Coming up, a Calgary man has turned his vinyl records collection into a museum.
Saskatchewan's largest cheer and dance competition is back. Friday on Your Morning, we are teeing up the Warman Cheer Classic as dozens of athletes descend upon the community.
All right, time to take a look now at the full forecast with the correct boards. And as we look right now, still snow in Regina right now, and is going to last that way for most of, or at least the next little bit here, at least until around 8 o'clock-ish. Things might start to slow down a little bit. But as we look right now, sitting at -10 right now with the winds there, just at 11 kilometers an hour coming in from the west-northwest. As we take a look to the satellite radar map, lots of activity that kind of happened. So all the snow's coming more so from down from the States, moving its way southeast east there, and it's moving and will move more so into areas like Yorkton and Melville in those east and central east areas of the province. Now, here's a look at the weather tracker as we go into around Friday at 9:30. So we will see lots of cloud coverage for us for the most part, with mainly just, and that's with some snow expected to come in from parts of Alberta there. And you can see in just a second here when I jump the bit here, sort of some snow and freezing rain might make its way through Saskatoon. Some snow more so north of Wynyard and just kind of east of Prince Albert around 9 o'clock on Friday. Now, this is where the bulk might come in here for those areas up north, in areas like Buffalo Narrows, La Ronge, and Meadow Lake. Those snowfall totals are going to be at least 5 centimeters, maybe even a little bit more. As you can see, the darker pockets more above the weather tracker banner on the screen here. Things, of course, are going to be heavy snowfall with those areas up north, and even some rain following in that mix as well. And then as we get into around Saturday, still sitting around some cloud coverage. Things will clear up a little bit as, of course, temperatures are going to begin to warm up throughout most of Saskatchewan, including us here, before things get a little bit colder once again. And even some areas east of Saskatoon could see some rain and freezing rain mixes there on Sunday morning. And then as we look at those snowfall totals for areas specifically in the north, as I mentioned, because of course they are going to get hit pretty hard here. So looking at Friday, we will see around excuse me, as I jumped the gun a little bit there, 9:30 a.m. on Saturday. If you look up north, 7 centimeters expected there at that point for Buffalo Narrows and La Ronge. As we jump ahead to around Sunday at 3 o'clock, yes, that is a big number there, 21 centimeters for Buffalo Narrows, 17 for La Ronge. So those areas up north, of course, are going to get hit very hard. It might continue on into Monday and parts of next week as well. Speaking of areas down south, 2 centimeters for Maple Creek, Swift Current, Kindersley. For us here in Regina, of course, we're starting to see a little bit of snow right now, but it's nothing compared to what we might see in the coming days here, and I'll show you that in the 7-day forecast in just a moment here. So here's a look at some overnights and highs for tomorrow. -8 tomorrow for the Losh, 2 degrees for Lloydminster with some snow, -1 tomorrow for the high in Prince Albert, along with -1 in La Ronge as well, with that snowfall continuing. 2 degrees in North Battleford, 0 for Saskatoon with mainly sunny skies, -3 in Yorkton for tomorrow, and with that -13 also, they'll still see some of that snow carrying over from earlier today and right now carrying over overnight tonight. Here's a look at areas more down south. Moose Jaw -9 overnight tonight with -8 for Maple Creek, Swift Current, and then positive temperatures. So a +8 tomorrow for Maple Creek, 7 degrees for Swift Current tomorrow with mainly sunny skies and a few clouds. And the same with Moose Jaw with that high of 4 degrees. 6 degrees tomorrow for Assiniboia, 1 degree for Weyburn, and 0 for Estevan tomorrow. So we'll see lots of temperatures kind of in that positive range. -2 for us was the daytime high for tomorrow here in Regina. Now here is a look at the next 7 days. Saturday, we'll see those positive temperatures with that high of 6 degrees, and then we'll see a rain-snow mix expected there for Sunday with that high of 4 degrees. Monday, -1. Things will start to cool off a little bit more, and then we should be expecting some more snow. That'll begin more so on Tuesday, and then also carrying over into Wednesday. So we could see about 1 to 3 centimeters around Tuesday, and then at least up to 5 possibly by Thursday. So snow's not gone quite yet, Lee. So it's that kind of sneaky March storm kind of thing that everyone always talks about this time of year.
Yeah, that's what March always has. It always pretends that it's going to be spring soon, but no, it's not. No. All right, thanks, Connor. Well, a Calgary collector has turned his private archive of vinyl records and record players into a public museum. CTV's Kevin Green got a first-hand look at the artifacts, which showcase a unique part of Canada's music history.
Ken Murphy started collecting records as a child after his father brought home a Beatles album.
Some say it's a life misspent. I prefer to think it's a life full of passion.
It sparked a lifelong obsession with collecting and archiving artifacts and recorded music, which Murphy has now turned into a public gallery.
About 15 years ago, I realized that I had reached a critical mass in my collection, and there were patterns in my collection that needed to be explored.
The Vinyl-centric gallery's first exhibit, called Phonosphere, covers the period from 1948, when vinyl LPs debuted, to 1978. The exhibit showcases historic Canadian-made record players and offers a glimpse into the culture of the time.
Most record players were purchased during this era were purchased in appliance and furniture stores, not stereo stores or audio stores. And Mum was in charge of that process because we were buying furniture and it had to fit into her decor.
The museum highlights the birth and growth of Canada's recorded music scene, which until the early 1960s was almost non-existent. The Vinyl Centric Gallery and Archive is also digitizing Murphy's over 100,000 record collection of vinyl LPs.
I figure I'll be scanning for about 5 years, 5 days a week. I usually get in about 8 o'clock in the morning, I scan till 3 or 4.
A visit to the museum features a curated background soundtrack of Motown, funk, disco, and rap. Murphy says he plans to add listening booths in a future phase. Kevin Green, CTV News, Calgary.
Still ahead, the Saskatchewan Roughriders are looking for someone to take over the iconic role of Gainor the Gopher.
Mike McEwen and his Saskatoon rink had the morning off at the Montana's Brier, but they did get some help from his New Brunswick friends.
Earl, a little bit. Can he make them both go? 1-2-0 precision.
James Grattan with a great shot and an extra end forces Manitoba's Braden Calvert without hammer to freeze to the red stone, biting the button, but it just doesn't curl enough. New Brunswick doesn't have to throw their final stone, winning 8-7. That hands Manitoba their third loss. So the standings had McEwen alone in a final playoff spot in Pool B at 5-2. Manitoba, New Brunswick 4-3. McEwen is playing Matt Dunstone right now. It is 2-2 the score. A win, and they finish second and play in the 1-2 qualifiers. A loss, and they would need Manitoba to lose to Northern Ontario to finish third. If they win Manitoba, then McEwen would be eliminated. So a lot on the line tonight as right now it's on TSN, the feature game, McEwen and Dunstone. As for Pool A, Brad Gushu, Brad Jacobs, and Ontario's Jaden King have made the playoffs. Regina's Kelly Knapp lost his last game 9-4 to Ontario. He finishes the tournament with a 3-5 record. WHL, it's been a tough season in Swift Current, but the Broncos clearly in the rebuilding phase of the junior hockey cycle. Last night, they lost their 10th in a row to Calgary.
On the 2-1-1, now the other way, quick shot, and Calgary scores.
Ethan Moore had a goal and an assist as the Hitmen beat the Broncos 3-2. Not a bad showing for Swift Current. Trey Wilkie had both goals in the loss. Swift Current will host the Brandon Wheat Kings on Friday. The U of S Huskies men's hockey team is off to Calgary to face Mount Royal in the Canada West men's hockey final. That starts on Friday. The Huskies have been led by former Saskatoon Blades, and that includes a Yorkton goaltender whose save last week garnered some attention on social media. Matt Young has more.
Cross seam, there's the shot, Thorpe, oh, what a save!
It was certainly the save of the series, and some are calling it the save of the year for the Huskies. An unbelievable stop by Nolan Meyer in the final minutes of Game 1 against UBC.
They were doing everything to put the puck in the net, and then it squirted out past to the weak side. I was able to slide over and make a glove save, so it was pretty fortunate to get that one.
The clip racking up nearly 17,000 views on X alone, though Meyer says social media attention is not the main goal.
I'm just happy the team won, and it's exciting for us to get that first win, to have some momentum going into the second one.
It was a good shot, but Nolan he's shown every game he's just in there battling for us, and he just pushed across and made unbelievable saves, so it was fantastic.
So far in the postseason, Nolan Meyer leads the Canada West Conference in almost every goalie stat. The top player, Connor Roulette, with the most goals and points. Two former Saskatoon Blades now helping lead the Huskies to the conference finals.
Buddy's even playing with Chase Berthlet in Spokane, and some guys throughout like minor hockey and stuff like that, and just able to connect with them again, and it's been good. Like I said, we're really tight in a group.
It's pretty special. I'm able to play some hockey with some old teammates of mine in the Blades, so it's really cool for me.
Familiar players and a familiar scene for the Huskies, once again in the Canada West Championship for the second year in a row, hoping to defend their title win from last season against the same team from Mount Royal.
I feel like in the postseason we've gotten better every week here, so we're on the upswing here for sure, and we've got a veteran group that's been there before and knows how to win, so I feel real confident going into this series.
Game 1 of the Canada West Men's Hockey Championship goes Friday night in Calgary. Matt Young, CTV News, Saskatoon.
There are just 10 days remaining in the SJHL regular season with still plenty to determine. Weyburn kept their hopes alive for a Bungie Division title, knocking off the Yorkton Terriers last night.
Shot off the post, they score!
Cash Lanigan had himself a game for Yorkton, scoring a pair of goals, but with the score tied in the third, it would be Ryland Pierce scoring the winner on the power play for Weyburn. Wings would add an empty netter to win 4-2. Yorkton is now 6 points up on Weyburn with 4 games to go. Both teams have clinched a playoff spot, but they play each other again on Friday. As for Melville and Estevan, they sit in 7th and 8th in the SJHL, and they have an important home-and-home series against each other this weekend. Well, think you have what it takes to become Gainor the Gopher? That opportunity is now open. The Riders are looking for someone to take up the mantle, the province's most iconic mascot. Energy, personality, enthusiasm, all considered assets. Those interested who live in Saskatchewan that are 18 or older can go through an application process that involves submitting a 3 to 5 minute audition video of how you would approach the job.
Still ahead, how the Edmonton Police Service is providing Easter fun for visually impaired children.
All right, time to take a look at some rural numbers right now, and it is going to be a mild to warmish kind of day. Lots of minus singles, -2 for Melfort, -1 in Hudson Bay. And then as we move over west here, 5 degrees for Kindersley, 3 degrees for Outlook, 1 degree across there in Meadow Lake, and Spiritwood and Lloydminster also sitting at 2 degrees. Of course, we could start to see some snow in some areas like Spiritwood and Lloydminster, but as we take a look now at some other areas right now, you can see that, wow, that is just very impressive there. 8s and 6s across the board here, so 6 in Assiniboia, 6 also in Easton Cypress, 8 for Maple Creek, 7 in Leader, and then a little bit cooler as we move out east, -2 for Lumsden and Pilot Butte, -4 for Kenora, and then -3 for Broadview. And then we see 6 also in Conorack and 5 in Rockglen. Now let's take a look at Central Butte, where internet speeds up to 1 gig are available from SaskTel. 4 degrees tomorrow, mainly sunny skies, and compared to what we saw earlier today, it's going to be a much different story. So 4 degrees will be a nice change of pace, and also the winds are also not going to be as crazy as they were today. Southwest winds there coming in at 15 to 25 kilometers an hour, and of course that's all because the temperatures are going to warm up heading into the weekend.
The Edmonton Police Service Bomb Unit is gearing up for a very important mission, its annual Beeping Egg Project. Amanda Anderson has more.
This mission isn't about diffusing devices. Instead, the Edmonton Police Bomb Unit is infusing sound into these bright-colored eggs.
They're tinkerers by trade. They like opening stuff up and seeing what's in it. This is just kind of adding back to it, tinkering to put something back together. That's fun for kids.
The team will make 60 beeping eggs to add to its collection of 200 made over the years.
Shells are all custom printed on a 3D printer. What's nice with this, the newer, smaller egg that we're using this year is that it's an even simpler circuit of just connecting wires to the switch and a battery.
Later this month, the team will hide the eggs as part of an Easter egg hunt for kids who are visually impaired.
They weren't able to participate in Easter egg hunts because they can't see the eggs, but these Easter eggs that emit this auditory sound allows them to participate.
There were just 18 kids when the Beeping Egg Project started 5 years ago. Now at least 40 take part. Detective Ryan Catcher says seeing the kids and how they respond to an Easter egg hunt designed to include them has been emotional.
I've seen kids their first year being very timid and needing help and guidance, to the second year where they've been able to go out by themselves, do it on their own, gaining that independence and that confidence and having the fun themselves. And we get to see that, and we get to see the change in their life.
The Beeping Egg Project is funded by the Edmonton Police Foundation, which relies on donations for this and other community projects.
To utilize the unique skill sets of the Edmonton Police Service members and to connect them to community. Policing just isn't about just enforcement, but it is about compassion, service, and serving the community and connecting one another.
Registration for this year's Beeping Easter Egg Hunt can be done through the CNIB. It's happening at TELUS World of Science on March 28th. Amanda Anderson, CTV News, Edmonton.
Canola street price is up $10.20 to $661.33 per ton, while the futures price is up $11.10 to $719.90 per ton. Some good jumps there for canola. Street price of amber durum wheat, no movement, $278.59 per ton. Red spring wheat, it jumped up $3.38 to $269.64 per ton. Feed barley, $232.01 per ton, while flax is $650.54 per ton. Those prices courtesy of Bunge. How about those stock markets? They both went down. The TSX went down 332 points, while the Dow Jones went down by 784. As for the Canadian dollar, it went down a little more than 0.1% to 73.16 cents US. Commodity front, gold dropped by $58.06. West Texas Intermediate crude up again, $4.77. And a bit of a surprise when it comes to Western Canadian Select crude, considering the conflict right now in the Middle East. It went down by 35 cents. So, gas in Regina, well, didn't stop that from jumping up after the recent climbs in the last couple of days. Gas now commonly found at most places, if not all, for $1.44.9 per liter.
Bloomberg is reporting that Oracle plans to cut thousands of jobs. The company faces a cash crunch in part because of how much it's spending to build data centers. Oracle is an IT company that has over 160,000 employees around the world. The company isn't commenting on the report. Home sales in Toronto fell again last month, down over 6% from February of last year. The average selling price was down as well, over 7%. It's now just above $1 million. The Toronto Regional Real Estate Board estimates about 100,000 potential buyers are holding off, waiting for more stability in Canadian trade. Higher output helped Canadian Natural Resources offset the weaker price of crude. CNQ produced about 1.7 million barrels a day in its latest quarter, which is a record for the company. Its fourth quarter profit came in at $5.3 billion. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marella Fernandez.
Coming up tonight, it'll be Next Level Chef at 7 o'clock, followed by 911 Nashville. We'll see what kooky fun they get into. Grey's Anatomy at 9, George and Mandy's First Marriage at 10, and E-Talk at 10:30. All right. Another person in Saskatchewan is a millionaire thanks to Lotto 649.
Last night's draw, 2 tickets had all 6 winning numbers, 1 bought in Saskatchewan and 1 bought in Ontario. The prize is $2.5 million for each. The numbers were 2, 18, 30, 39, 40, and 44. The ticket holder has 1 year to claim their winnings. That's it seems like that's good luck for us lately. That's kind of maybe a sign.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of Lotto winners all of a sudden coming out of Saskatchewan, some VLT winners as well. So it has been a pretty good year so far for people to do Lotto. I don't want to say gamblers because that's not some gamblers it hasn't gone well. Anyway, you're going to talk about Bengoff.
Well, organizers of the Gateway Music Festival in Bengal announced this summer's headliners.
Sam Roberts will be Friday's headliner with songs like Brother Down, Where Have All the Good People Gone? On Saturday, it's 80s rock group Glass Tiger. Songs like Don't Forget Me When I'm Gone. This year's festival will take place July 24th and 25th, of course, in Bengoff. So if you're a concert, you like going to music, you've got this. Of course, you've got Craven, the new festival in Saskatoon with Jelly Roll headlining.
Yeah, that's going to be huge.
There's going to be, if you like going to concerts, it's going to be a pretty good year.
Good to win the lottery to go there.
Yeah.